CATV is proudly presented by Toyota.
Alistair, what difference a week makes? How does it feel to finally get a win over Australia on this tour?
Yeah, pretty good, to be honest with you. It's been a long time coming, and we know the series is gone, but it's the thought of losing 10-0 was obviously the prospect was there starting today, but we played a pretty good game today.
And you're feeling happier as well about the captaincy?
Well, I think when you win, obviously last week I was in, it was a tough 3 days. I spoke what I was feeling. Sometimes you probably shouldn't do that, but I did, and we can move on from that.
You're confident you want to move on and continue in the role?
Yeah, I think what I've learned over 3 years, and as a one-day captain, would be wrong so close to the World Cup to change. We're getting some very valuable experience here in the conditions which we're going to play in the World Cup. So obviously if I'm still given the opportunity, then I'd like to do it.
Some of your bowling changes work tonight as well. Does that help as well?
Well, I mean, you're always in a bit of a lack of the good on the lack of the gods in the bowling machine. Sorry, I don't know what I was talking about now. When you make bowling changes like that, but it's always nice when a couple change and get a wicket in the first over.
Alastair, Ben Stokes again, 70 runs, 4 wickets. He's just had an amazing tour, hasn't he?
Yeah, really good tour. I just said to him he likes playing at Waka. Obviously had a good test match here and a very good one-day game here, and he was doing everything right until he dropped that catch at the end.
There was a few drop catches at the end. How relieved are you feeling now? What's the emotion that you're going through?
Yeah, as I just said over here, like the thought of losing 10-0, obviously it was a prospect, and not to allow that to happen with a very good performance. I think let's look at the performance as well. To get 320 or just under 320 and then bowl Australia out for 250 on a good wicket. We did a lot of things very well today.
Were you happy when George Bailey put you in? Would you have batted?
Well, we were saying at the toss, if it was a World Cup game kind of thing, you'd probably bat first. But what we've experienced on these 3 games where we couldn't defend a total, we might have tried the other way today. I think so. We would have bowled, but I think it looked like a bat first wicket. But it didn't actually. I don't think the wicket changed at all. So I think it was a 50-50.
Do you feel, Alistair, that you're on quite a steep sort of learning and improving curve? Obviously, the results haven't been great generally, but some of the pundits, if you listen to them, have noticed improvement in your captaincy as the tour's gone.
Well, when you win a game of cricket, everyone thinks you're a good captain. When you lose,
I think they were saying that actually before the win in previous games in the one-day series.
Look, you do learn all the time on it. You do learn, and 3 years is quite a long time, to do it in terms of how much you learn. Obviously, I think the tough thing here is when you come to new conditions with the 5 men up. The 5 men in the circle. You have to learn very quickly. Certain fields which you can do here, you can't really do, say, in the subcontinent. So that's the stuff we have to learn and learn very quickly. But we need to make sure we remember some of this stuff. So when we hit the World Cup coming, I know we've got 5 warm-up games against Australia before that, but it's important that we end the tour and then we start. Then when we come back here, the one-day cricket, we're back up that level.
Is it important you build on this now on Sunday?
Yeah, definitely. The guys can take a lot of confidence. I thought we batted very positively. We always took the positive option, which in these conditions I think you have to do. There's always a bit of a risk with that, but you have to be good enough as a top order batsman to make those shots. Obviously, if we're being quite harsh, we could have done with a guy getting a big 100 and we could have got 340 and put the game to bed really. I actually think in the batting we're still pretty close to really putting a big score on.
A word about Joss, he's something special, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and I've seen him do that obviously a huge amount of time for Somerset. When you see the scores for Somerset, and I've actually seen him do it a couple of times against Essex. And I think he'll be first to admit it took him a little bit of time to find his feet at international cricket, but he's growing all the time and he's working. Obviously, the game is very different to a county game, so you have to. I think what's impressed me is how he's adapted his shots to be able to still do the damage at the end. And 70 or 40 balls is Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you thinking how you're captain against it. It's very, very hard.
Different format, different world, but he must be in everybody's minds for a test place.
It is a different format, but he needs to. He knows he's got to go and score a lot of 4-day runs. But let's concentrate on the 1-day stuff and the 2020 stuff. And he's as I said, you want people who can do damage at the end, and he certainly can.
Very quickly, your own form, you still need a big score, don't you?
Well, yeah, I do. Again, it's improving in terms of the way I'm striking the ball. The last 3 weeks, I really felt as I've, actually turned a bit of a corner in that way. And again, it's 30s and 40s aren't what you bat for, but when you go through tough times with the bat, there's hope. There's big scores around the corner. When you get them, you'll be even more hungry to keep getting them.